Hello everyone and welcome to a Jack Star review. I'm Jack and today I will be reviewing 2013's Man of Steel, directed by Zack Snyder. Before we get into it, I'm going to give you a spoiler warning, so if you haven't seen Man of Steel and would like to go into it blind, I suggest you watch the movie before listening to this review. Now let's get started. We begin on Krypton with the birth of Kal-El, which I believe gives the audience a personal connection to Clark, and is a fitting opening for a series built around him. It's here we find out that Kal is the first natural birth on the planet in centuries. Krypton's scenery is beautiful. The armor has a medieval but also alien look, and the buildings have a very ancient architecture. The planet clearly has a rich backstory which I think could be explored in a trilogy or series. These first 20 minutes set up the rest of the movie well and are amazing, truly some of the best of the movie. The movie contains many flashbacks, which makes me believe the movie could have benefited more from being a bit more linear. We already saw Clark be born, so a linear structure would have made it seem like we grew up with him during his time on Earth. Clark's Kryptonian dad, Jor-El, has a great scene where he explains Krypton's history. They sent scout ships to terraform planets to be more habitable for Kryptonians, but when that failed, they decided to genetically create children to grow up with a planned purpose in life. Hundreds of years later, the planet's core became extremely unstable and caused the destruction of Krypton. I haven't read enough Superman comics to know if this has been done before or if it's a whole new concept made for the movie, but it's a very interesting one, and it makes Clark a very unique person on both worlds that he lives on. This then leads into Clark's first flight, one of the best scenes in any DC movie, any Superman movie, and any comic book movie. Clark walks out into the sunlight with Jor-El's speech and Hans Zimmer's score playing over. It's the perfect testing out your powers scene. He fails at first, but remembers what he was taught by his Earth mother, Martha, to focus. So he uses what he's learned to help him to fly around the world and even above it, with a reference to the ending of the original 1978 Superman movie starring Christopher Reeve. The death of John Kent, Clark's Earth dad, is very hard-hitting. A tornado is heading their way, and John gets trapped in its path. They both know that Clark can save him, but they also know it's not time for Clark to reveal himself to the world. John looks on at Clark, proud of his son, and lets himself be taken away. The movie explores the downfalls of being Superman. He has so much power, but can he save everyone? From this point on, which is about an hour in, the movie is consistently great. I personally could watch from this point easily any day. General Zod has returned from the Phantom Zone and calls out Clark to surrender himself. A flashback of young Clark and John helps Clark realize what he must do. John asks what kind of person are you going to be when push comes to shove, because it's eventually going to happen, and that time is now. Clark surrenders to Zod and is taken to his ship where a dream sequence takes place. Zod explains his plan to create a new Krypton and wants Clark to join him. The problem is, he's going to terraform Earth and kill all the humans to do so. Clark refuses and begins to sink in a sea of skulls. When he awakes, Zod reveals to him that he's the one who killed Clark's Kryptonian dad, Jor-El. The entire final Zod vs. Clark fight in Metropolis is awesome. Both Titans have unique fighting styles. Zod, a trained, ruthless warrior since birth, and Clark, more of a brawler, since he's never really gotten into a fight to this extent before. The fight causes buildings to get leveled. Each punch causes the receiver to get flung across the city, and they hit each other with anything they can get their hands on. Trucks, metal beams, and even a satellite. The ending of the fight has been very controversial over the years. Clark has Zod in a headlock, and Zod is about to fry a family with his laser vision. With no other choice, Clark snaps Zod's neck. He didn't want to kill Zod, but he has to make the choice to save the people or let Zod go, who will then just kill millions more. It's a no-win scenario. Clark's reluctance to kill is further signified by the chilling scream he lets out. That scream encapsulates the pain Clark feels of becoming the last of his kind. Now, some scenes I believe stand out from the rest of the movie, and I've probably already touched on these earlier. The beginning Krypton sequence is shot brilliantly and well acted by all involved. It makes for the perfect prologue for the rest of the movie. Clark's powers activating whilst he's in school. You can see the panic on his face, and you're scared for him. He has no clue what's going on, but Martha helps him calm down and focus on using his powers to his own will. The history lesson. Everything said in that scene could be explored more in a series or trilogy, as I said earlier. Clark's first flight, Clark's dream of Earth being destroyed. Jor-El telling Clark, you can save all of them. I like that both of his father figures get to inspire him to be Superman. The Smallville fight. My favourite parts are when a train gets thrown at Clark by a member of Zod's crew, and when the army realise that Clark is on their side, and Colonel Hardy looks at him and says, this man is not our enemy. The final Metropolis fight. This battle between two godlike beings is exactly how you'd imagine. Their punches cause sonic booms, and with their strength they smash buildings down with ease. Clark destroying the World Engine, and a flashback to when John sees Clark wearing a cape when he realises that when the time comes he will make the right choice. I'm going to talk about a few nitpicks I have. There's very few of them, but I felt I needed to include stuff I didn't like in order to make this a fair review. It's never explained to why Clark is on a fishing boat before the first action sequence with the oil rig. They could have maybe added just a few scenes leading up to that, or maybe even some dialogue later on where they just mention why he was there. How did Clark destroy Ludlow's truck without anyone hearing? From the shot we see of the truck, it looks like he used telephone poles to impale the truck. And how did no one notice? Why do some teens bully Clark 20 feet away from John? It's a little bit silly to bully a kid in front of their dad, don't you think? Lois says Zod's crew looked into her mind like they did to Clark, but we don't see this scene, so there was no need to keep the line in the movie. The effect when Zod erases Jor-El from the scout ship is a little bit odd, and the dubbed cough when Clark is fighting the World Engine has always distracted me, as it doesn't really sound like Cavill. Zod says he and his crew were freed from the Phantom Zone after Krypton's destruction. Judging by the timeline of the movie, they were freed about 5 minutes after being imprisoned. The music was composed by Hans Zimmer, who was always a win. He invented a brand new Superman theme, which is played in many different ways to fit the scenes it's used in. Sometimes it's slow and emotional, sometimes it's quick and adrenaline-filled, but it always blends in well. I've listened to the score many times without the movie, and it will never get old. The CGI is nearly perfect throughout the whole movie. There's one shot during the Smallville fight where two CGI people look a little bit rubbery, but only lasts about 2 seconds and isn't terribly distracting. Everything else is flawless. Jor-El and Zod's Kryptonian armour, whenever someone flies, and the laser visions all look real. The costumes designed by Michael Wilkinson and James Acheson are beautiful. The amount of detail in the Kryptonian bodysuits is insane, and we should appreciate the effort the designers put into making them look otherworldly. A few small details that I think really add to the movie are that whenever a Kryptonian uses their laser vision, we can see the veins around their eyes, and we can also see that the power of the lasers cause slight pain to their user. There's a shot of Zod and Clark standing across from each other. Behind Zod we can see destroyed buildings representing Krypton, which is now gone forever, and behind Clark we can see standing buildings since Earth is his home. I also like that the movie is called Man of Steel, since Clark isn't Superman yet. The arc he must go through in this movie and its sequels are to earn that title. Now let's talk about the characters. Superman, played by Henry Cavill, is the perfect casting for a Superman of the modern generation. You can really tell he has passion for the character with his commitment to the role. His struggles make him believable. For decades, people have looked up to Superman. He's the one we want to be. But Cavill's acting, mixed with Snyder's vision and David Goyer's writing, made him one of us. They broke down the superhuman and made him human. He's bullied and doesn't know his place in the world. A lot of people say he's too broody and sad, but that's because he's an outcast living in our world. If humans can't accept other humans, they certainly won't accept an alien. This Superman isn't seen as the hero of Metropolis yet, and must prove his worth to earn his place. Cavill's Superman is perfect for this generation, but I believe that after Snyder's planned arc is complete, he'll be the perfect Superman for everyone. Lois Lane, played by Amy Adams. Amy Adams plays a great Lois Lane. She's cocky, stands her ground, and doesn't take crap from anyone. She plays an important role in defeating the Kryptonians, and her relationship with Clark is believable, unlike most love interests, where they just feel like a thrown-in damsel. Jor-El, played by Russell Crowe, is excellent. He doesn't have as much screen time as Clark or Zod, but when he is on screen you're fully engaged, and no other actor could have made this version work. General Zod, played by Michael Shannon, is an amazing and compelling villain. He'll stop at nothing to complete his purpose of serving Krypton and their people. And thanks to Michael Shannon's acting, Zod actually has range, unlike many comic book villains. One of my favourite aspects of his character is his respect for Jor-El. We can tell they have an old friendship from their dialogue together, and when he erases Jor-El from the scout ship, I love the look of sadness on Zod's face that then turns to anger, almost as if those two emotions are fighting for control of his body. It's interesting that they put him as the villain in the first movie, but having him there leads to many parallels between him and Clark. They're both very similar, but both take separate paths with what they can do. John and Martha Kent, played by Kevin Costner and Diane Lane. Both actors are great and believable as a couple and as parents. John and Martha have always been important characters in Clark's life. They're the only family he knew for 30 years. They helped him through the struggle of growing up different and taught him that he needs to wait until the time is right to reveal himself, since when he does, it's going to change the world. Everything they teach him sticks with Clark through this movie and helps him develop as a hero. Faora, played by Anjay Trao. Faora is such an underrated villain. She's a powerful badass warrior, and there's one awesome scene where she lets herself get hit by a missile knowing it won't kill her. She has a line that she says to Clark: "The fact you possess a sense of morality and we do not gives us an evolutionary advantage." And that line perfectly sums up the difference between Clark and the evil Kryptonians. Professor Hamilton, Colonel Hardy, and General Swanwick. All three play a significant part throughout the whole movie, and Swanwick plays an even bigger role in Batman v Superman and Zack Snyder's Justice League, so we'll definitely be coming back to him. I also enjoy Steve Lombard, despite only having very few scenes. He's a good comedic element of those scenes. Perry White, played by Lawrence Fishburne. I believe it was a good idea to get a rather well-known actor for a very unknown character to the general audience, and he pulls off the role of an intimidating yet caring boss very well. A new layer that Snyder added is his use of religion. Snyder takes the concept of God and questions how would humanity react if a person with such power turned up one day. People would reconsider their beliefs. Did they choose the right religion? Should they convert now? They'd be terrified. This addition brings in incredible new depth to the Superman mythology and is developed more in Batman v Superman. So in summary, Man of Steel is an amazing retelling of one of the most well-known stories in pop culture. The darker tone gives the movie its own style, and the movie also successfully updates Superman for the modern era. For decades, Superman was seen as the Boy Scout, and while Snyder does keep that element, he also reinvents the 80-year-old character by expanding on why he does what he does. Snyder clearly knows Superman, and I look forward to seeing how this story is continued. I definitely recommend Man of Steel, and I'm going to give it a score of an 8.5 out of 10. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to my Jack Star review of Man of Steel. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Comment how you think I should improve upon these reviews, since this was only my first one. And I will see you next time when I will be reviewing 2016's Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice.